directed several of the short films. Our third panelist is Ignacio, who is an actor, director, and screenwriter. His debut feature, The White Devil, was premiered at IFI CAFF'21 and other prestigious international film festivals. Julia, who was supposed to join us, who may join us in the middle, is a Russian awardee film director, photographer, and virtual artist. She worked with topics such as sexuality, body language, loneliness, beauty, women, etc. So I wholeheartedly welcome you all for this panel discussion. And first of all, I will start with how have you been holding up during the COVID? Matlab all. How have you been managing the filmmaking aspect?
Do you want to start, Ignacio?
Sorry, I lost the first part of the question. If you want, you can start.
I can start. Okay, so basically, during the pandemic, I've tried to make a short, like a film with other filmmakers from Peru. Basically, each of us would have done a short film, and then we would have put it together, to make like kind of a vision of what was our mental status and how we saw the pandemic. However, this project was visioned from the very start, from May 2020. So when we got to August and the pandemic was still going on, people were just like, I don't know what to say right now. So we had like a deadline to write, and some of us wrote short films and some of us had ideas, but in general we decided to just rest the project because it was we didn't know how the pandemic was going to continue to develop. I've always been hopeful about it and try to be to continue working, but I have had to put my ambitions of shooting for a big project on pause. So I'm writing my second feature, so I've been working a lot on that, and I've been working on an educational platform, shooting with different very interesting characters from Peru, but in very small scale.
How has been the process, the change in process affected you, Ignacio, specifically you, because you being a filmmaker, the awards process has completely changed. For example, the feeling of going to a film festival to receive the award has changed completely because everything is happening online. And many filmmakers who are disappointed by the process, there is no feel in winning, even when a film wins the award online. So how is this process affected you? Not just making films, but the distribution process and the awarding, getting the award process.
Well, yes, I think that it's a big deal with the festivals because, for example, 2020 was going to be like the year where the movie was going to the most festivals and everything changed in the process. Anyway, I've been writing too. I've been writing my second feature, and I've been writing a TV show. So the entire 2020 was about writing because, like Daniel, I had to postpone all the shooting ambitions.
Yeah. So let us talk more about how did you went into filmmaking. Daniel, how did you start filmmaking? What was the point where you realized, yes, I have to do this?
So I have always loved watching films, watching TV shows, since I was really young, but I never saw it as a possibility, as a career. I thought, it's like being a football player. It's like you don't, like you have to be really good. You're really young to say I'm gonna go into it. But it's not a thing with film. When you are young, no one says, you can be a good filmmaker or you should do filmmaking. You love film so much, why don't you study film? Like that wasn't a conversation we used to have when we were young. But then it clicked. Okay, there's nothing else I want to do more than make films, and I started to try to get in contact with I could reach and talk to them, ask them about where did they study, what was their process, what did they recommend at the moment. Like, okay, if you really want to take it seriously,
Go.
Okay. Yes, but like basically, I when I'm writing, because I write and direct, when I'm writing, I'm already picturing a lot of how I want the film to feel and to be. You know, I have this very clear idea of what I want, and I think something that fortunately I have benefit a lot from is flexibility. So very clear idea, and I work really hard to go really, you know, I have a plan in hand when I get into the set, but you know, there are always limitations. So, you know, you have to work with those limitations and be creative, you know. In my film, there are a lot of very long shots, which I love. And at first, I designed some of them, and then I added way more during the day. Like that day I was shooting, and I just said, okay, so basically I am not gonna be able to get all these 7 shots, you know, or these 10 or 11 or 12 shots. Let's do it in 2. You know, and so we took a little bit more time to rehearse, but then try to hit all the important aspects of that one shot, and that made me one, be much more economical with what I was showing, you know, just concentrate on what was important, and also add kind of like an innocence and a little bit of chaos, a little bit of movement to the scene, which benefit me really well, because that's what I wanted to do at the very beginning. The story follows a very innocent kid, you know, in a very tumultuous hotel where a lot of things are happening. So doing it in one shot benefited me a lot in communicating that. So sometimes that flexibility, you know, does give you really good surprise. You know, you have to be ready to accept those changes and do the best with them. If you are suffering because you cannot get what you want, you will suffer a lot, and your movie will suffer too, unless, of course, you have a lot of resources, you know? And at the end of the day, the flexibility in the set is more to, okay, how can we benefit from what we have now, than, okay, let's adapt. You know, it's a very different mentality. I wish I had all the resources one day to be able to do like, okay, we already have an amazing minimum. Now let's pump it up. Let's do 3 more shots of these because the actor brought something to the table, or you know, the light is amazing here, or whatever, you know. Like, but usually my experience until now has been more of a hustle.
Yeah. I think that sorry.
Go on.
No, I think the challenge in making maybe a first feature film, and most of it is it's an independent film, is to keep the core of your idea alive. Because a lot of things are going to change all the time, and maybe you get this kind of money, maybe you get that kind of money, maybe you work with these people, maybe you work with another, and the people are going to have opinions and ask you for things and everything, and a lot of things are going to change and be like a surprise. Mm-hmm. So I think the challenge in making a first film, most of it a first film, I think maybe any film feels that way, but I think the challenge there is to be able to adapt, but keeping your idea alive.
Yeah.
And I that what Daniel said, it's pretty good. I think the thing is to benefit from that improvisation or changes or unpredictability.
Yeah. Also, I have heard this many times that filmmaking is about planning, but on the set it's about adaptation. Specifically, when you are working with a limited budget, you have to adapt on screen, because if you are not adapting on screen, then there is no possibility of going over planning, because you will plan, but things will change and you have to adapt to them. And from adaptations, I come to Ignacio. You have worked in more than 25 films, and as an actor, and I think you will be a perfect fit to answer this. How difficult is it to manage the actors on the set? What are the preps for actor management? Because there are a lot of changes when we're working with actors. There are a lot of adaptations on the set, specifically because there are a lot of actors involved in the set. That is why many people, for their first film, try to keep their actors or characters as low as possible. But it is said that the best film is without any actors, without any characters. If you can manage that, a good film, then it's a great film. So with actors, there is a lot of management. Obviously, the character of the film, but if you can manage a good film without a character, then it's a great thing. So how will you add, Ignacio? What do you do for actor management?
First of all, I think the casting process is really, really important. Like, I think you have to take your time and think things 100 times before choosing, or because when you work with the right actor or actress, everything is pretty easy. After that, I think if the actor is good for the character, and you as a director make yourself understood, and both the actor and the director understand the scene and the movie the same way, everything comes pretty easy. In third place, I think also when a dialogue is well written, it's also easy for it to come out right. I think the job of the director is making the actor understand perfectly what he or she has to do, and making the actor feel comfortable with what is going to do. Because as an actor, if you read a scene and it's well written and you understand everything you are saying and you understand the tone of the movie, you do it right. I think that's the job of the director, making the actor understand perfectly and making it feel comfortable.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. I guess Julia has joined us. I'll admit her in the room and I'll start the discussion as we were going. There will be no changes. This is I've admitted her. Let me see if she has joined
here.
Yeah. Hi, Julia.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah. We were already in the middle of the discussion, and we were going through the discussion, and we are already doing the recording, and I'll very immediately introduce you. Cool. Can you hear me? I guess there is some network issue from her side. Till then I'll continue. I was coming to the actors. We were talking about the actors, and from that I was reading about Hotel Paraiso, and I was keen to know where did the idea emerge from. I put this down in my notes when I was making the notes. How did the idea emerge? How did you make the film?
So basically, I wrote a very similar film when I was in school. I was much younger, I was 19 or 20 when I wrote the first draft of what ended up being Paradise Hotel, and I just wanted to get out of my chest some feelings that I was dragging since I was a teenager. So I wanted to explore those, and I wrote a very complicated film to shoot, which took place on a cruise ship in the Galapagos, because I was working in for a class, and there wasn't really an admission to film this at the moment, in that moment where I was writing it. So I had the idea, I had the family trip in the Galapagos cruise ship, the kid was 16, 15, 16. And then when I was going to graduate, I was like, okay, if I want to do a film, this is one I can do, I can manage. I can change the age of the kid so that he's younger, so that it goes to the source of when I started to feel that way, which was way younger, which was when I was 13, 12. So I changed the age from 15, 16 to 13, 12. And when I was that age, I went to this hotel in Peru, and I kind of had a love story happen there. So I ended up, taking a lot of aspects from my life and making the film what ended up being Paradise Hotel, But it was an evolution process, and changing it and adapting it to what I thought was best for the film, and for also for me to get the hotel. The hotel was a big part of the production. And I experienced that story when I was 13 there. So, just telling me that to the hotel for them was, okay, what do we shoot? Like you want to make a love story of two kids falling in love in my hotel? Okay, let's make this work. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. That process.
About to say it looks like it's kind of it's a very personal film. But as you said, what are you going to say? A story about two kids falling in a hotel. I thought it will sound wrong, so I'll skip that, and I'll move ahead to. Hi, Julia, can you hear us?
You have your microphone.
Oh yeah, it's off.
Cancelled, I think.
Yeah, I can see. I'm sorry, my internet is super bad at the moment. I'm very sorry. I just can't hear half of the words. But I'm trying.
We were into the middle of the discussion, and we are recording this session. I'll give a quick intro about you, and then I'll begin the discussion again, if it's cool.
Okay.
Okay.
I heard the second half, but I will just follow. Sorry.
Julia was a Russian awardee film director, photographer, and virtual artist. She worked with topics such as sexuality, body language, loneliness, beauty, women, etc. I've already introduced her, and she has joined us in the session. So, hi, Julia. If you can hear me, hi. If you can hear me, I'll begin by asking the most personal question I've written in this PI. So, I was going through your work, and I checked out you were into the music video filmmaking, and I have gone through almost all the videos which were available online, and the work looked very abstract. So how did the idea of following a music video in the form of an abstract art with completely different topics emerge? The videos were very interesting, and I want to know what's the process.
Oh, thank you very much. It's very nice that you watched the works. How did it? I don't know. I don't really have the answers to your questions why it was abstract. It's just the way I see things. I don't know.
How different music video filmmaking is for you then, because you do commercial work, you have had made films, you have had done music videos. How different is the process of making a music video film than a normal film? How different?
I'm sorry, I'll have to interrupt for a second. Give me 2 minutes. I'll change your room because it's like impossible to understand the questions and it's super horrible. I'm really sorry, guys. Just two secs.
Sure.
Oh, you were saying, Harsh, that there is a rule in your first film that you cannot work with a lot of actors, and they also said that you don't work with kids, you don't work with animals, you don't work close to the water, and I did all of them.
I tried working in a film with a kid, and trust me, it was a very difficult process. The moment I said, please turn on the volume, the kid was so, I won't say bad, the kid was so naughty. The only thing he did was turn off the volume. I said turn on, he turned off the volume. The opposite of what you say them to do. It's very difficult to manage an actor, specifically when you have a kid as an actor? I don't work with an actor as a kid.
I had an amazing experience working with the kids. The difficult thing is the parents. I hope they are not listening to this when you show it. The parents are much more difficult than the kids. The kids, I had an amazing time with them, and the older actors, you know, I had an amazing experience with some of them. Some were more difficult. Some I could work a lot before the film, which was very good, you know, just to get into the same page. Some didn't have the same availability of time. I think what Ignacio said that, you know, taking your time with casting, you know, talking a lot to your actors before the film. Like, even if it's an amazing, like, actor and a play for your film, like, if you don't work if the chemistry is not there, you just don't do it, you know? Don't go there.
You suffer.
Yes, you suffer.
It's so nice to actually hear you guys. Thank you for
Right.
About the music
Sorry,
video. I asked you ki how different is the process of making a music video film than a normal fiction or non-fiction film. So how different?
we should start with figuring out what is normal. That's one of my main questions in life. What is normal? What is not normal? I don't know. I try to inspect the borders. What is real? What is not real? What is normal? What is not normal? Because for me, my films are very normal, and the most not normal film is the actual, you know, they went there, they said that. For me, this is quite, it's not how I perceive the world, I suppose. It's like logical things are not very my strongest part.
So I was coming to in the discussion for, I guess it's half an hour we were in the discussion. I was coming to the very important point. How do you, I would like to hear this from all of you, how do you approach the strategy of sending your film to the film festivals? Because making a film is a very good process. I know the process is very fine and everything goes well, but it's almost, I guess, 50% of the job, because the rest job is sending it to the festivals and getting it marketed as well. So how do you approach the strategy of distributing your film? I want to hear multiple views, because I'll get to know.
I'm still learning. I'm pretty bad at it.
I'm
That
also.
part. Yes, I think I'm better making the film than promoting it.
Me too. Yeah. I mean, I learned a lot along the way. That's the only way, you know. As assisting a festival is very important. Very important. Doesn't matter if you get in or whatever. Assist a festival if you want to learn about how festivals work. And I went to one in Rhode Island, and I had a really good time. And there I met people that did do strategy for festivals. So, and I was just like writing down everything that they said, you know, just learning a lot from them. But before I did, like, I followed their criteria of what to do, which was very, very common sense, but you know, it's very difficult to reach that. Was that I basically got into a couple of good, like I started to get into festivals, and I saw which one was the kind of festival that I wanted to attack, you know.
Right.
I wanted to go to this kind of festival, so I started to send it to those kind of festivals. But at first, I just sent it everywhere, and I spent a lot of money that I shouldn't have, sending it just everywhere, you know. But then I started to be more strategic about my filter, you know. At first, it can be very overwhelming, the amount of festivals and possibilities that you can have, and the idea that if you go to one festival, you cannot go to another. I did not plan for that. I just sent it everywhere and see where it stick. You know, because my film was developed as a film for cinemas in Peru. I wanted people to see it there. You know, I wanted kids to go and watch the movie with their parents and have a good time. But the festival experience after that was so enriching. You know, so enriching. Anything that would come, if, you know, this conversation now, this is all just so much, you know, benefit, you know, from sending the film to multiple festivals and having gone through all that process, you know.
Daniel, whereabouts in Peru are you from?
Lima.
I've been in Lima. It's
Oh,
very
nice.
big. It has a nice beach, like
Yes.
the water by the sea.
Yeah, the sea walk, boardwalk, yeah, Malecón. We call it
Malecón.
Ah, yes, that's the one.
Very beautiful. Thank
Great.
you. Where are you from?
Well, I'm from Moscow originally. It's in Russia, like the big city.
Yeah, I went for the World Cup.
Yes. Okay, but now I'm in Crimea. It's Crimea. I don't know what's
Yeah.
how you say. I can't say which country it is because it's too political for me. So I'm just here.
How do you approach, Julia? What's your festival strategy?
Okay, now you're all froze.
What is
I'll
your?
wait for you to start moving and I will say it. Okay. Somebody's moving. No.
No? Froze?
Frozen.
Oh. You're frozen now.
Are you looking into?
She froze. There it is.
I'm sorry, the worst thing about the place where the internet is like worse than in France. I'm sorry, no offense to France.
None taken.
Yeah, they don't mind.
I'm sorry, Harsh, I keep breaking up your questions.
No worries. What you said was a political statement.
About the festivals, I can say quite a lot because I'm self-learning and I've been doing that for, I don't know, 6 years now. With my first ever short film, which was like super experimental. And I remember it was 5 years because it was 5 years recently since my first acceptance to the festival. It was a nice memory on Facebook or Instagram. So basically I was just scanning through Film Freeway and thinking, oh, that's free one, that's free one, that's free one, and sending it to all the free ones.
Yeah.
But that's kind of a lot of work, but it gives you like 5 festivals maybe, randomly by luck. But it's not really a strategy, it's just thing you can do, like scrolling. I just like yeah, but sorry?
We are currently following this strategy.
Yeah, but lately I tried to make it more sensible somehow. For one of my films, I'm working with an agency that works with festivals because I just decided to show them some of my works and say, what do you think? Do you reckon something can work out? And they chose the film that I had no stakes on. I'm like, okay, it's done, it's fine, I'm moving on. And they're like, no, that's the one and we want to use it and we're going to promote it. I'm like, okay, fine, do it. But I don't know how it will happen. We'll see in the future. And, well, basically, I know there is like a huge strategy and planning on which big festivals you should apply first and then second and then fourth, and it has to be very thoughtful. But it takes a lot of time. It's like super a lot of time. And I realized that I don't want to do that much anymore. So I tried to delegate it to people that, that's the main task. Because in the end, I find myself otherwise more producing and looking for money and blah, 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 instead of the main thing that I love is filming. So I think it's important to find the people you trust and to give them, the opportunity to help you. I mean, to find the people that can do it better than you.
Better than you, yeah.
For me, it's quite because I don't really trust people, but I try.
Can you talk about your recent project?
Sorry.
What have you been doing lately? Can you talk about your recent project?
Oh yes, sure. Actually, I can say that diorama. I was at with the film the shows. I don't send it to festivals anymore. Somehow it's funny, but it gives you opportunities. But a recent project, I'm finishing my first feature documentary. It's super exciting because it's combining documentary, fashion, and animation. It's very logical. The most logical I can do it. It's, I'm trying. Because otherwise my mom is like, okay, is that a new film? Is it like, that doesn't make sense like all of your works? I'm like, no, mom, that's a normal one.
It's the normal. There's the normal definition.
I don't know. She has her normal.
If your mom considers it normal, it's normal. Okay.
Yes, that's it. That's the definition of normal. But I really think that that's the difference between the features and the short films. Is you just with a feature you have to respond to a bigger audience. Just looking for a bigger audience because it's a bigger job. So you have to look for more people to watch it. The ambition is bigger.
Yeah, that's true. But for me, it was not by accident, but I wasn't planning on making a feature.
Right.
I just liked the person. I was filming her and filming, and then I edit, and it's a 60 minutes, and I'm like,
Yeah.
how did that happen? So we'll see, because experiment in terms of I tend to put too many thoughts into my work. But I'm trying to make it understandable for more people, as you said already, to make it more, digestible by the audience. And there is like a logical line and chronological line, and then there is a metaphorical line, which is kind of outlined literally by animation, which is very exciting because I've never worked with animation. So
Nice.
I'm hoping to finish it super soon. I already sent it to one festival, even though it's work in progress.
Mhm.
I'm really hoping to show it to everyone in a month or so.
What type of animation is it?
I don't know in English. Really, I don't know the term in English. It's like shot by shot animation, maybe. Because if you translate it from
motion.
No, it's not stop motion. It's like when you have a video and you draw on the video, like line by line,
Okay.
shot by shot.
Oh, okay.
And it's lines running on your film, basically.
Okay.
The film already sounds experimental.
Huh?
The film already sounds experimental.
It's wonderful. It's very exciting. And it's about a woman who does metal figures, a sculptor. And she's a weld queen because she does welding. And she wears those huge dresses and she makes those big sculptures. She's super great.
Nice.
How do you find your subjects?
They find me. I don't know. I don't have the process of sitting and thinking because I'm more intuitive. And when I feel passion to something, somehow it feels right, and I just go there and I trust that it will lead me somewhere. Well, it doesn't, it's not about commercial work. Commercial work is different.
Yes. No, I understand. No, yeah, I mean, I usually arrive to an idea, like you said, more by intuition, and then I kind of think, how can I make this more commercial so that I can get the money to make it?
Yeah.
Kind of like the process is like.
How is it with funding in Peru? Because I make my films on my own money, for example, and I work as a creative producer also on some projects, and we are trying to get some funding from government, which in Russia is like semi-impossible, especially if it's not
Really?
pro-Russians, war tanks, we love Mother Russia stuff, which is like completely not me.
Really?
How is it in your countries with funding?
Same, government and government usually support films that are like so I've been going a lot, like very in depth into what are the films that win the government funding, and basically the people that put the judges for the competitions to win the fundings are the same artists that have unions. You know, there are a lot of unions, and some people repeat unions, and so I've learned that they are the ones who put the judges in their place. So we're trying to change that. You know, we're trying to make it a much more independent process, because what happens at the end is that the movies that the government ends up paying with taxpayer money don't end up being films that are watched in Peru. You know, there are films that, of course, go to festivals and win prizes, yes, but we need to develop a much more sustainable system for the Peruvian industry. So we have to look for films that not only respond to an artistic purpose, but also a commercial purpose, so that we can start attracting more people to watch these artistic films. You know, and that way we change the conception of people of what is Peruvian film, what are Peruvian films. Because right now, you have either the very, 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 very artistic, that people don't watch it in Peru, or the very, 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 very commercial that are funded by sponsors, you know, product placement.
In Argentina, we have a support from the government. A lot of different kind of movies can get some money from the state to make your film. Maybe you can anyway. The money they are giving is getting smaller every year, of course, and maybe the biggest problem too is that after making the films, there's no way to get to the audience. It's really difficult for the movie theaters to show your movie in there. It's really, really difficult. So there are a lot of films made, and a lot of films that are pretty much like stored and goodbye. Nobody saw it anymore. Maybe some of them are watched, and some of them maybe go to festivals and things, but that end up being nothing. Anyway, this last year there weren't much films made. I hope this year we can make some more.
And where are you from, Ignacio?
Argentina, Buenos Aires.
Oh, that's great. I have a friend from there. He lives in Moscow, but he's from there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Argentina. Seems so far away with all this lockdown. It's like, I'm on the moon.
Really far away, yeah. Impossible to go there, yeah.
I've asked them already, Julia, how has lockdown been difficult for you in terms of making films? Was there some struggle? There has been definitely some struggle, but how did you cope up with the struggle of making films in the lockdown?
Well, because I'm an independent filmmaker and I make it on my own money, so I don't really have to, show up to anybody and prove them that I made what I needed. Well, for me, it was psychologically quite hard because I'm super emotional and I was locked in like small apartments for a long time, and I was like, okay, how are we gonna live now? That's the new world. Fine, let's do it. But also, I'm curious, and I was trying to find a kind of new possibilities in that, because I'm an artist and I can't just not do it. It's impossible because that's the only thing I do. So I was trying to find somehow ways how I can film and make films or videos, whatever, without even leaving my house. And we made this music video with a friend of mine. Basically, my idea was that he's a singer and he wanted the music video. I'm like, okay, so why don't we make a karaoke online? Because that's what we did at the first karaoke online. It was like so exciting, but now it's quite boring. And so we made a kind of a video of him singing with the words, and we sent it to a lot of people. We even made advertising on the web saying, hey, we invite you to participate in the film. So the idea was that people from all over the world send us their mobile videos of them singing the song and dancing. And I edited a music video of them. Basically, we collected everybody from all over the world, and it was such a sweet vibe. You know, it's like I was traveling. Well, we couldn't travel, but I'm editing, so I can see all these countries, all these beautiful, happy people, and it was very nice project. So this was my kind of trying to find a way, basically, in the circumstances.
You should have sent
also,
it
we
to
didn't.
me. I'm amazing at karaoke. You should have sent me the video. I could have.
Well, now I know to send it. Sure. But also, I have to say, I'm sorry, because I thought that because last year, well, the year before 19, I was traveling a lot to film festivals, and for me it was super important because I was in Venice, and then there was this film that I was hoping to promote a lot and to get somewhere with the festivals. But then the lockdown kind of changed everything, and a lot of festivals were cancelled or postponed. And of course, they were not online. Okay, now we froze again.
We can hear you.
I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay. So anyway, I expected last year to be, I don't know, somehow bad in terms of festival thing. But somehow for me, it luckily turned better because maybe the topics that I'm speaking were quite wanted. I put it this way because I'm a lot about like sensitive stuff and feelings and the warm, good emotions. I don't know what, but something that was lacking in last year. So I did get like twice more prizes than I ever did last year, which was like very, very, I don't know, supporting for me. Because otherwise I think that I'm just sitting here doing my films, nobody needs them, and there's not much audience because I can't go to the cinema and show a film. And online on festivals, like, okay, cool film, like, and it's not like a feedback, it's not an exchange. For me, I need this exchange with people, with friends, with audience. It gives, I don't know, it gives a lot of energy to it. Because I just read the screening and say, please come talk to me. Because I see people.
You're cutting up a little bit, I think.
What do you think?
We can't, actually, your voice is breaking.
We got until you wanted to go to the movies to get that exchange from people, like you wanted to get.
We were talking about the exchange from people, actually. We said how has the online version of the festival changed the vision of distributing and going to film festivals.
We lost her completely. But yes, what you were saying about going to festivals online, I mean, it's been really nice because still, like we've had a lot of this kind of Zoom discussions in this year, much more than in other years, which I've loved. That's been a benefit. But the sad part is not going and meeting the people in person and developing a relationship more than Zoom.
Yeah.
Zoom. And I miss watching films just in a place.
Yeah, not getting the reaction of the people when they watch your film.
Also, yeah.
You don't get to see. You don't get to see the reaction. Yeah. So Julia was talking about the process. I'll end the discussion on this note. Julia was talking about the process of sitting and writing down, and I was very interested because I've adapted multiple processes. So I'm into the middle of the college and I'm doing something, and something will come up my mind and I'll open the notes and I'll put it down in my notes. And I have like I don't even remember. The notes are so cluttered. I have so many ideas put in the notes that if someday someone someone opens the note, they will be very disturbed with what the guy is writing. But what's the process for do you use notes? Do you sit down and write? Because I tried also waking up 8 a.m. in the morning, 7 a.m. in the morning, and sitting down for 1 hour and writing down. So what's your process? Sitting and writing down, or just going with the flow?
I think it's a little bit of both, maybe. Like going with the flow, it's one part when you maybe you get some ideas or anything, but I think that there's also a part where you have to sit down and write like a thing, like a more routine thing, maybe, to get to it, right? I think it's the both sides of the coin. You have to have both. And maybe I take a lot of time starting, like when I start writing something, I start like slowly and I write something and then I get distracted and anything. And something starts to form up in my brain. And then there's a moment where that part of the process stops and it's like, okay, you have to get all those things down and get it done. Both parts are important for me.
Definitely, yes. Like what I think Ignacio, like getting into that zone, that space, like that area in your day, in your mind, in your energy, to just sit down and you can write for like 2 hours and suddenly that's I love those moments, but they're very difficult to come by unless you are, I am not 100% dedicated to writing. I would love to, but I'm not. I have festivals. I'm sending my film. I'm working on the production side of my new film. I have other projects. I'm even working on a trivia game. And so it's like I have like a ton of things. My mind is developing all the time. So if I really want to work on my film, like I have to put a huge chunk of my morning just to go through that process of sitting down and trying to find like one note to attack. Just another note to attack, and start getting things into pages. And I also do a huge process of and some days it just takes 2 days or even like 3 to just process all the notes. Just get them into a state into a word page of 5 notes of 5 pages. The film I'm working right now, I had a 30-page like just of writing of notes, and just one of those notes could take me a week. So I'm not gonna say like I'm gonna start 1, 2, 3. No. So I read all the notes and started to be strategic on how to attack them. That took like a week of work of just sorting out through notes. But that is a maturing process for your film. So when you start writing, putting things down on the page, I think they are much more worthy. You have already processed so much information, so many possibilities that you've said, okay, this is the road I should take, and that gives you a lot of energy to actually sit down and have that being on the soul,
Wait.
And
Command should fight.
And sometimes I think you just have to write badly. I'm like not judging that much your material, because if every page you're gonna write, you think it has to be the best work of the history, maybe you get like, and sometimes you just have to write something that you don't even like, and then you can come back to it and rewrite it and everything, but sometimes it gets you moving.
We are talking about the process. You said he's sitting down and writing things, and we were talking about what is the process that works for you. Do you sit down and write, or do you just wait for the idea to come in and then you kind of let's write in the morning? Because I'm still figuring out what's the right process of writing things. Should you sit down every day for an hour to write things, you'll end up with something good, or you could just wait to come in and then explore it?
Well, I think very big, because how far away you see my name is video art is just because yesterday project was teaching teenagers video art. And one of the things we discussed with them is like, how do things, when do I do stuff, because they to get a guidance how to do things, to be honest. But how to write, how to wait. There is a great TED talk. I can't remember her name. She wrote Eat, Pray, Love. There's like a film and the book.
Yeah.
And this lady, the author has got a really, really cool TED talk. Please watch it. It's really inspiring about the fact that those the ideas we get are not kind of ours. We receive them from somewhere, and we're kind of the people who can transform them into physical film, novel, whatever, a script. And it's really, really exciting. But if you just sit there and wait for the day to come and you just don't move anything and you don't work, it's never going to come to you, because you have to work for it. I don't know how, because I'm inside of this process. I'm also finding my ways. But I know that as soon as I start dedicating my time and my energy to a project and my love, quite quickly I get a response somehow in some way that, I don't know, either it's kind of funding or there's a person interested in it. But it's only when I honestly, dedicate a lot of me into it. And I'm working on my first feature, which is feature, not documentary. Documentary was an accident, but there was a feature, which is based on a French comic book. And I'm writing it with a colleague, and it's been like years since I'm writing and rewriting it, because it was meant to be a short film, but now I decided that there is a much bigger story and it won't fit. So we're writing it, and I don't know how the process goes. Basically, I think for me, I need to get very inspired by something. I need to feel that this is like something I believe in, and I will dedicate my time to it in like the next years. I have this feeling, and I had it with my project. I had this feeling for like 6 years. I'm working on it, and it was like a crazy idea of when I was just 2 years starting directing. And I was like, oh, I love this book. This book changed my life. What if I do a film on it? And it was like so scary, the scariest idea in the world. And I was like, okay, what do I need to do? I need to find an author. Who is it by? And it's a comic book. So I find the guy on the internet and I write to him. And it was so scary to get his answer. So I just, closed my notebook and run off for a whole day for a walk, just not to see what he answers. But in the end, we become friends, and this is how I started learning French, actually, and I went to France later also, because he was very happy, because he's also a human, even though he's a famous author. He's like, hey, great, that's a cool idea. A random girl in Russia wants to make a film based on my book. Why not? So we kind of found a way, and it was a really good lesson to me that all of us, even though we can be, I don't know, looking very far and so amazing people on the high grounds, like amazing, famous people. They're also people. So we can just write them and connect to them, and it's really great. So
I think that's crazy, because my experience has been that I've had so much more difficulty getting people in my country to collaborate, and not see like a dollar sign behind everything, and I've had a much easier time finding collaborators around the world that are of course I don't expect anyone to work for free, but still have an open-mindedness, so that this French author, very famous, would be like, okay, my usual rate for you adapting my French comic book would be, here you go, and it would be a huge amount, Yes. For example, music for my film, I had a much easier time getting huge names, huge songs from other countries at a much better rate than in my own country, you know? And I was just like, man, I love your song. Like, why won't you give me like a regular? I just paid this guy who is world famous. Like, you are only famous in Peru. Like, what the hell? I don't know. People are more like, I feel closed off to those closer to them in those sort of collaborations. It's been that's been a sad process for me, realizing that, you know.
That's so horrible. I'm really sorry because my internet went bad when you started talking, and it's just like it's froze. And the last thing I see is like, well, that's for me. And I'm like, shit, I missed it.
I was just rambling.
I'm sorry.
Like, Julia, you'll catch up with everything later. For us, everything is going fine. We will catch up on the page. So I guess we have been discussing this for like 45 minutes or 1 hour. I would like to conclude this, and thank you for joining in. It was great to have you guys here, and I personally learned a lot from this session, and definitely the audience will learn too. And thank you for managing the time, and thank you for being a part of the film festival. Would love to get back and catch up sometime, definitely. Thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Harsh. Thank you
We'll
very much, guys. Take care.
Thank you. Take care.
Cool. I have stopped the recording.